Good morning.
Hello there.
Hey, sorry I'm late. Just as I was joining, my laptop decided to die, and then all the in-room chargers weren't working, and anyways, apologies. We'll get rolling here this morning.
Love the pasta one.
Doesn't quite work over the headphones, but I'm going to roll with it.
I appreciate your commitment.
Because Josh did it, so.
Do we have any new contributors on the call this morning or today?
Me. Hi.
Hey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Michael Roy. I'm with VMware. Apologies, and yet another VMware folk.
No
I manage.
apologies necessary. More than welcome.
We're a wonderful bunch, I swear. So I work on a variety of things. I own Fusion VMware Workstation, and we're doing some fun stuff there. I've met a lot of you folks at the Contributor Summit at KubeCon the other week. I work with Jonas a little bit, and I also work on Project Octane. So I'm just looking to do more in the community, and it seemed like a really great opportunity to pitch in.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning or today.
Welcome, Michael.
Hi, this is Mani. Yeah, I'm just looking to contribute more to the community. I'm based out of Mumbai. Yeah, and yeah, I've contributed to some of the other open source projects, but I really want to contribute to this community. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mani. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm just kind of exploring and seeing if this is a good SIG for me to get started with. So that's about it. I'm in Austin, Texas. I met George and Dawn both at KubeCon and went to their talk. So I'm here.
We're glad to have you. Hopefully it's a good fit.
It worked.
Yay, welcome.
Anybody else? Great. Okay, before we get too far down our program, I just want to remind everybody that we do have a code of conduct. The TLDR on that is please be excellent to each other. If you want more details, go find the code of conduct. Could I get a volunteer troll smasher?
I can do it.
Thank you, Jonas.
I'm prepping the notes, Elsie.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Okay, and then Jonas is the co-host. All right, so let's go ahead and get rolling here. Is there somebody from the event subproject that would like to give an update?
I'm here, but I'm not sure I have an update.
Okay. Totally good.
I made playbooks for my part of the event. George merged them yesterday despite having typos and things, so I'm gonna go and probably iterate on that in the next, like, I don't know, after the release is out or something. I don't know. There's this person in charge of the release, and she's super mean and won't let me sleep and stuff. It's like, it's terrible.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to sit on the nits. Let's get the notes in there. We can fix them later. You have stuff to do. So sorry about that. No,
it's super fine. I with some of these things, I'm like, let's not what's that called? Anyway, yeah. Cool. That's my update.
Thanks, Gwen.
The other bit of the events update is that we had the retro for the Contributor Summit. The last two, well, it took us 2 meetings to get there at, but we got there at a whole bunch of action items so people can see the notes for details. The other update, I think, is that Jiffy is the lead for the Contributor Summit for Amsterdam, and he's in the process of putting together the team now.
Great. Thanks, Don. Let's jump down to community management. Who would like to give the update on that?
Is there a specific part? I mean, I guess we could do the notes or the meetings and stuff. So community meeting is set for this week and next week. Next week is going to be the retro. So we're pushing those things out. So Marky sent the emails to the right people. I do need to send an email that I'm planning on sending on Monday to kind of remind everybody, hey, for 2020, we're going to change the cadence down to once a month and kind of get people going with that. Meet our contributors was awesome this morning. We had about 46 concurrent people, about 150 uniques this morning. We had Kelsey and Taylor on, and that was pretty fun. Thanks to those of you that participated. And office hours is next week, and that is going to close us out for 2019. And I think that's pretty much it for community management. Gwen?
Yes, this is related to the release retro. If you or anyone you know would love to moderate the retrospective, ideally it is somebody who's not on the release team. Let me know, drop me a DM.
Yeah. And I was assuming you'd want me there to stream it and all that stuff, so I was just going to show up for that part.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Okay. Dropping down into the GitHub management. Is Christoph or Nikita on? Not seeing them. Does anybody else have an update? Nope. Okay, we'll keep rolling then. Slack infra. Any update there?
Other than I think we want to add No Soy Mari Nada Soy Capitan as a moderator. I think you just got to sort out your two-factor, Josh, I think is the only thing we're waiting on.
Yeah, apparently 2FA doesn't work the same with the Linux Slack client, so I'm figuring that out.
Well, it works for me. We can offline after.
Yeah. Anyway,
cool.
The yeah, some rotation. Are we rotating anybody else?
Yeah. So this is something I did wanted to bring up to the other group, kind of just like a heads up to tell people. It will be very benefit. So we've had the same group of moderators for Slack for a while now, and especially in Europe and Asia, it would be really useful to get more folks on board and ask maybe people who have been doing it for a year to cycle out and then come back in a year. I'm really trying to avoid having, ContribEx is always responsible for this, and this, all of us all the time. So if we do like 3 people, I could rotate out this year for 6 months or whatever it works. So if you've got coworkers or something that are looking to contribute to something, but don't really have time, but have to sit on Slack for work anyway, it would be really useful, especially in Asia Pacific. So please let me know. Other than that, I don't think there's any day-to-day changes that we have in Slack other than the usual denying apps and all that good stuff.
What's the best way for them to reach out to you, George, if they want to volunteer?
They could just ping me. I have a whole page. I have
Okay.
a whole page in the community repo on how to be a moderator, things like that. We just did moderator training and all that stuff. So we'll have to sort how we're going to do code of conduct training and all that stuff to onboard new people. But I'm not sure. I think Paris's plan was to do that on a regular basis anyway, and then you would just line up with whatever the next training is. But I'll have to sync with her on that. Not sure.
Okay. Jumping down to contributor documentation. Do you have an update there?
I think this is me and Gwen. I went through a bunch of GitHub stuff last night and found some. I'm gonna need help with a translation to Hindi for the contributor cheat sheet. I don't have it in front of me, but I just basically pinged them asking them for it.
I have been bad about reviewing things because my notifications queue is just kind of borked.
Yeah, the biggest thing we've added recently that I remember is Jeff and another new person, I'm sorry, forgot their name, has been working on this, is adding how to add release notes to PRs when doing like the contributor workflow. So that's definitely one of those has landed. I think the second one is still being PR'd. I need to look. Sorry.
We are, there's actually some automation around this as well, because we don't want to overload the PR template in KK. So work is being done, but I think it's also mostly people who are on the current release team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been fun.
Cool.
All right. And then for our final sub-project, any update on mentoring?
I don't have an update, but I have an opinion.
Go for it.
So when Lachlan and I did a talk at KubeCon about the release team shadow program, I sort of started realizing that that is how mentoring needs to look, or that is one of the ways in which we need to implement it. And of course, it doesn't look the same as it would on the release team, but I think what we can do as a SIG is to encourage other SIGs to push more towards human interactions. I don't know what that looks like yet. My tentative plan is, once I drop the release, to like vanish a bit from SIG release, because I think SIG release is doing an amazing job at onboarding people, like completely amazing. There's like a paved path for everyone. And I'm going to, like, honestly, I was just going to join another SIG and see what I can do there. Because it'll have to look different in a like more technical SIG. But here's the thing, release engineering also has a shadow process. So it works for them. It seems silly anyway. And I know there's a lot of resistance from SIGs. They're like, well, you know, I spent months teaching this person, but then they just disappear because they got a new job. And yeah, well, you know, anyway, so I'm just playing around with some ideas.
Yeah. The big challenge there, and I've talked to some other people about this, is coming up with narrowly scoped tasks.
Yep.
For SIG work, right? Is the nice thing about release and about events and that sort of thing is we have all of these jobs that have a specific length of time and a specific set of duties. And coming up with that for, say, SIG networking is a lot harder.
I'm thinking one of the things to do is one of the things that really this won't work for everyone, but the more ways we have for people to get involved, the better, right? Because it's not going to work for every personality type. But what I was thinking is we could encourage SIGs to maybe group review pull requests. Have new folks look at like pull requests, but do it together, and then have the overall reviewer who actually has more context kind of be available for questions. A little bit. Allison, hi.
Sorry, I just want to say I actually have.
Oh, Laura, sorry.
That's okay. I'll respond to anything. It's all right. I actually have a document. We used to do something called Zoom code reviews or Zoom reviews. It was required for every review. I have the document that explains how to do it. If you want, I have to ask the guy to make sure he's okay with it, but he's a big open source proponent. So I'll just say, hey, Jay, you mind if I borrow this for Kubernetes?
Steal it all.
Yes. Yeah.
I will go ask him and see if he's okay with us borrowing.
If he says no, we'll send him a t-shirt.
I think he'll say yes.
Okay, all right.
I can't see why he would say no, but it was really helpful and it really reduced a lot of bugs at the same time, but it was a really good way to onboard junior developers onto the team that we were working on. So I will find it for you.
Yeah, that's like one idea that I've had for that. So I'm glad I'm not the first one with this idea. So that probably means that we can more easily convince others to be on board. Yeah, so it's just that I have looked at like how far I've come in the last 2 years since becoming a contributor and what made the difference for me between me and some of the folks that I see at the new contributor workshop. And the difference is mentoring. I've gotten amazing mentors, and part of that is because I just ask for it and because I show up and make mistakes and people are like, no, this is how we do things. And that's, again, not everyone's style, but the more we can do that for more people, right? Not everyone feels comfortable speaking up. Not everyone is like lucky enough to feel safe about speaking up. So, and that's not how mentorship is supposed to work, right? You shouldn't have to manage upwards. Anyway, I clearly have a bunch of opinions about this. I'll shut up now.
No, I think that sounds like a great idea, and if we could get that documentation from Laura, I think that would be a really great thing to explore in the sub-project. Okay, so that takes us to the end of our sub-project updates. Does anybody have anything that they would like to discuss in addition to that? Hit it, Gwen.
I do. SIG leads aren't reading their emails at all. Like, I will post a screenshot in channel to see there is not even that many posts, and SIG leads aren't reading it. I have visual evidence of the read receipts on that list, and I'm going to post it publicly in SIG ContribEx channel. And I think the next step is publicly shaming the SIG leads, because it's part of every SIG's charter. As I learned earlier, I was like, literally, I was sending out a reminder for poor Chris, who's doing release notes and can't get an answer from SIGs, which is super uncool. And I'm like, okay, so is this even the way that SIG leads communicate? I wasn't sure. I was like, this looks really dead in here. Is this still the official way? And so either, or it's possible that the read receipts are wrong. That's also, I don't know. Maybe people just get it forwarded, and I don't know. But if the responses that we've been getting are any indication, people don't read them.
Okay.
I think read receipts are pretty unreliable, but I also agree with you based on what I've seen too, that they don't read the emails, but I don't know that read receipts are going to convince them.
You have to do emails, you have to do Slack, you have to PM them.
No, but like
it's
their job. That's like, it's just because am I going to miss that email from my bank that says, sorry, you overdrafted? No, I'm not. So like, don't be release lead if you can't read emails. I mean, oh my God.
You meant SIG co-chair. Yeah. We get it. I mean, this is a problem. Like, I'm smiling because it's like, I remember when you joined and you were so like innocent and full of hope and stuff. Now you've become one of us. It's just one of those things that, so this is like when
I still have hope. What are you saying?
No, so this is one of those things that steering had been mentioned, and maybe we should, I don't want to make it sound like we should tattletale the steering or anything like that, but
no, we should.
There have been conversations that steering has been having is how to carrot and stick SIG co-chairs. All SIGs need API reviews, right? Usually, mostly. So like, if you're not meeting your transparency requirements, maybe that's a valve that gets squeezed a little bit. But I don't think it ever went past discussion stage. I think that it is a problem. I mean, Paris isn't here, but she's written newsletters. We've continually had people even a contributor summit who Bob has to chase down. Hey, you're a co-chair. You're supposed to register months ago. I mean, this is something that's always been a problem since I got here. But before it's kind of like, hey, we're ContribEx. I mean, it's kind of part of the job. But like, if it's also a problem for release, that's 2 SIGs, which is right.
It's a problem. It's a problem all around, and
it's a problem for people. I mean, yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the source of the problem that I know is it's not. So if you're a SIG chair, you receive an enormous amount of email from the Kubernetes project. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, most SIG chairs are also senior engineers at their companies. Mm-hmm. And as a result, even if they were receiving nothing from Kubernetes, they would be receiving a whole ton of email. So it's not even they don't intend to read the email on the SIG chair thing. It's just when it shows up, they're in the middle of something urgent and they're like, oh yeah, I'll read this afternoon. And then it never happens.
Yeah.
And
I don't think anyone's being malicious.
Yeah.
Right? It's just saying, I found a review that I got assigned 3 days ago and I feel terrible about it, kind of thing.
I mean, I struggle with this too, right?
Yeah.
That's, still the best way to get my attention is a Slack DM.
Yeah.
I'm not proud. But
Should we just Slack DM everyone?
Sorry?
Should we just mass Slack DM everyone?
Well, I mean,
that's just really hard and laborious.
Yeah, and more noise doesn't exactly help either, right? Like they have their own Slack channel, right? There's a leads.
There is.
Chairs and tech leads, and if you read them, a lot of it is the same stuff that you'll see posted on the developer mailing list as well.
And I don't want to call out anybody in particular, but some people aren't as responsive to Slack messages and Slack DMs either. Yeah. I know for coordinating the meet and greet, I ended up having to Twitter DM some folks to actually get responses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in some cases, I pinged other people I knew at their company and said, hey, can you find this person and track them down and ask them this question, which we shouldn't have to do.
No, that's ridiculous.
To be fair, not everyone lives and breathes the Kubernetes Slack day in, day out, right?
Sure.
But that's why we have email, because email works for everyone. It doesn't work fast. It doesn't work instantly, but it works.
Yeah, and on paper, each SIG has multiple co-chairs, tech leads. Yeah. I feel like we're missing a bunch of key people here who would have strong opinions on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear you. I mean, especially with release notes last year, I remember.
What
the last cycle, people get frustrated.
Is the expectation, basically.
They're expected to respond. They're a co-chair.
Right.
They're a leader in this project. Yeah.
That expectation exists in a vacuum, right? There's no consequences. I know that all of SIG ContribEx include, I don't know, I'm release lead. My big stick is a big fat or else. Yeah. It's, but at the same time, maybe the consequence should be, you need to step down as lead or as chair because you clearly don't have the time.
Yeah.
It's okay for less experienced developers to be chairs. That's super fine. Maybe encourage that.
I mean, that's part of the reason we started Emeritus for folks, right? I'm oversubscribed. Let someone else handle this. But
yeah. And the thing about a mailing list is it's easy for me to use. When I'm hunting down people for an issue, I have to look at their GitHub handle, then I have to find their name on Slack, find their Slack handle, send them a DM, find which SIG they belong to. It's this whole 20-minute process. It takes a long time. Sending out a post, sending out a blast to the mailing list is easy by comparison. Because it reaches everyone who's there. It's the same difference as you have the entire release team, which is roughly 30 people, and you invite all of them individually with their primary and secondary email to a calendar event, or you have a mailing list and it just works. So it just, anyway, I think we just don't have any consequences, and people are just like, well, it's fine. I mean, I experienced this with another situation where releases kept slipping because scalability wasn't responsive.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that they just didn't really understand that, no, you need to be on top of this. And once we started communicating that, it got better.
So let's think about some solutions here, because so obviously I think we're going to need to surface this in the release retro, right, as a problem. And then, like, how do we approach the leads for this? Do we need to send the uncomfortable email to the developer list? Like, because I feel if it was just contributor experience saying, hey, no one's responding to our thing, they're going to say, you know what, they just want me to show at the community meeting. That's not important for me. But if we're release were to say, well, look, if we don't start getting responses for people, we're just going to start knacking your merges or something. Like, is there like a carrot that you could say? Because I mean, this kind of stuff I feel kind of lands in our purview, right? Like, I don't think asking steering for help is
going to hide an Easter egg in the SIG that the first person to like respond to a post gets some swag. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Paris has done something like that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, so what about kind of automating it a little bit to send it to where people are best able to be reached? I was just commenting this in the group chat, but like, what if instead, whenever you did like an email, it gets sent to, and someone can opt in for, I want this by email, I want this through Slack, I want this, I don't know, through text message, Google Hangouts, I have no idea, but what if we were able to automate that workflow so that it is a little easier for people who maybe, like, I know at some places I've only lived in Slack, so I automated my emails going to Slack because that's where I could get found. And maybe people just don't know they can, but
I still think that's the individual SIG chair's responsibility because it's in their list of tasks to be responsive.
And just to be in the org, you have to be subscribed to the developer mailing list. And I know for a fact, a lot of times when we send messages and stuff like that, like Bob has went and looked and seen that the list of people who register for Contributor Summit, a lot of who are supposed to be org, a lot of them are supposed to be org members and stuff, like we find out aren't subscribed to the developer list, and they might be a co-chair or things like that. So I don't know, like I feel like we can't make a decision here, obviously with a bunch of extra people missing, but maybe we should put in the notes that we should strongly consider sending the uncomfortable email at some point. That's like.
Can we create an issue on K community and gather input?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that way
let's do that.
I think that would, because it just wouldn't be us, right? It would be any cross-cutting SIG, right? Like.
Yeah, you know what? I can create that as release lead. That might.
Yeah, because I'd be interesting to know like what SIG architecture does when they need to reach a group of them for a certain change or something like that, right?
Yeah, but I just talked to Steven on the release team because of this, and he's in SIG Arch, and he's had the exact same problem, and he's like he wants to escalate to steering at this point.
Yeah,
just told me. So so I'm going to create an issue in K community, and I'm going to tag a few people on it.
Yeah, I mean, it was past steering committee, but the way Joe explained it to me, he was like, hey, if you're not responding to your community transparency needs and stuff, we just tell a SIG you don't get API reviews. That'll make them show up. And I was like, wow, I wish I had the guts to do that.
Right, but like versus API reviews.
I mean, because eventually a SIG needs something from the rest of the project, right? Whether that's an API review or it's,
but
whatever
again,
it is.
Always somebody else.
Yeah. Just something to think about. I know it's been brought up in the past.
Yep.
Okay. So it sounds like the path forward is Gwen is going to make an issue in the community. And we'll have a discussion there about what makes sense. And then maybe circle back around and talk about this in a following meeting what we're leaning towards.
I empathize with you, Gwen, though. I feel you.
Yeah. Sorry, typing. I can't.
No worries.
File that bug.
Does anybody else have anything that they would like to talk about? Okay. Well, you fine folks will get almost a half hour back in your day.
Is this our last meeting of the year?
Yes. I think
Okay,
this should be our last meeting of the year. So
happy holidays to everyone if you celebrate. Take some time off. Enjoy your families.
Hey, everybody. See you in the new year.
See you in the new decade.
Bye, everybody.
Hey.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.